topic for today is all about language and history. Learning another language is not only learning different words for the same things, but learning another way to think about the things. By Flora Lewis. So, the quote implies that learning a new language goes beyond simply translating words. It means adopting a different perspective on the world. So, before we start our discussion, let me read the learning outcomes. Identify the noteworthy linguists and their contributions to the language that it is today. Trace the development of language in a historical perspective from Anglo-Saxon to global periods. Recognize the language family of English and differentiate the three Englishes according to the period from Old, Middle, and Modern through in-depth historical analysis case.
Good day. I will be discussing about the noteworthy of linguists. So, the study of language advanced significantly after Panel's work with Aristotle and Robert Bloch as pivotal figures. Though separated by centuries, their lives and contributions reveal the evolution of linguistic thought. Let's talk about the second one, which is Robert Lott. Robert Lott was born in Manchester, England in 1710. He went to school in Manchester and then to Oxford University. He became a very important church leader and preacher. He held many high positions in the Church of England and was also an advisor to the king. He died in 1787, and the cause of his death is not mentioned, but it's like more on the natural causes due to his age and failing health.
Next is Ferdinand de Saussure. He was born in Geneva, Switzerland. He was a linguistic prodigy, learning multiple languages and writing essays on them as a teenager. He is considered one of the pillars of 20th century linguistics and is known as the co-founder of semiotics, or the study of science, and structuralism, or the study that language is a structured system. Lastly, Avram Noam Chomsky. Chomsky pursued his studies under linguist Zelig Harris and earned his doctorate at the University of Pennsylvania. He is often called the father of modern linguistics and is also a philosopher, cognitive scientist, and political activist. He introduced the concept of universal grammar and the idea that humans are born with an innate ability to learn language. Chomsky proposed that the brain has a language acquisition device, which allows children to learn grammar naturally. He argued that all languages share basic structures and humans have an inborn ability to recognize them.
Good day, everyone. At this moment, we will explore how language has evolved through time to time. But before we dive into it, let's first understand the concept of acquisition. So, acquisition, it is the process of gaining or developing something in the language. So it refers how humans or us naturally learn and absorbs speeches. And also, the best example is how a child picks up their language or their first language by listening and imitating the people around them or surrounding them.
Acquisition. So, discussing this acquisition, It tells us that English language has gone through a series of modifications, for it had been in the mouths of a few generations of speakers. It had changed that its previous form seemed unrecognizable anymore. The English language has historically transitioned from Old English to its modern English structure and conventions. Without further ado, let me elaborate what does this topic means. This period started around 450 AD. During this time, the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes who composed the West Germanic settlers arrived in southern Britain. They carried with them some dialects like the language varieties that produced the Dutch, Frisian, and German. This Germanic influence is prevalent in the vocabulary we use every day, such as comb, kumon in Old English, old in Old English, and heart in Old English.
Alright, so heads up, eyes here, students. Now, let's tackle about the Middle English. This stage of the English language, spoken roughly from the late 11th century until the late 15th century. It evolved from Old English and eventually transitioned into early modern English. Middle English saw an influx of vocabulary from Norman French due to the Norman conquest of 1066 century. This added many words related to law, art, literature, and government. Spelling was not standardized during this period, so we will find many variations in how words were spelled. Pronunciation was also different. For example, many words that are silent today were pronounced back then. Middle English grammar was more complex than modern English. It retained many inflections or endings on words that indicate tense, case, number, and so on from Old English. But this gradually started to disappear. For example, nouns had different endings depending on their case, where it be nominative, accusative, and such.
This period marked the introduction of printing. Caxton's preference of the East Midlands, London's English variety for the earliest printed books towards the end of the 15th century influenced the formation of the standardized English language variety with acceptable grammatical forms and vocabulary, fixed spelling, and punctuation conventions. The modern English text can be read at the onset of Shakespeare's Hamlet. At present, English is used worldwide as a native tongue, second or foreign tongue, due to imperial and colonial activity, educational and cultural prestige, the interracial slave trade, and international business for economic reasons. Modern English is, however, continually changing and upgrading both its non-standard and standard varieties. Therefore, there is nothing to fear or resist as the language continues to change as it brings unity and comprehensibility to everyone. The importance of modern English is that it serves as a global language, making communication across different cultures and countries easier. So, to make it short, I would like to simply explain it that modern English opens doors to better opportunities and helps people connect globally.
Now, do you have any questions regarding our topic? If none, then here's the references about the topic that we tackled for today. Kindly refer to it na lang po. So without further ado, thank you for listening and have a good day.